As you just heard, that was Defence Minister Rajnath Singh briefing the Parliament over the events of yesterday's military chopper crash in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu, of which CDS General Bipin Rawat and 12 others were a part of. So as per what we know so far, contact was lost from the Sulur Air Base with the chopper at about 12:08 and the rescue operations were then rushed to the crash site, and the rescue operations to rescue all the people from the site of the crash were underway now, and the mortal remains of the victims of the crash, that includes CDS General Bipin Rawat, they have been brought to the Madras Regimental Centre from the military hospital in Wellington in the Nilgiris district. As you can see on the screen, on your screens right now, the wreath-laying ceremony is underway. The mortal remains of all the victims of yesterday's tragic military chopper crash, they were brought in to Wellington in the Madras Regimental Centre from the military hospital. And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has also briefed the Parliament over the sequence of events that took place yesterday. The contact with the chopper was lost at 12:08 a.m. and that's when the rescue operation teams were sent to the crash site as well, and CDS General Bipin Rawat and 12 others succumbed to their injuries, and their mortal remains have now been brought to the Madras Regimental Centre from the military hospital in Wellington in the Nilgiris districts. You can see the visuals on your screens right now. These mortal remains are further expected to arrive in the national capital, New Delhi, also today, where the last rites will be performed tomorrow in the Delhi cantonment. Their bodies will be kept in their house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for people to pay their respects before it is then taken to the crematorium. Indian Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary is in Tamil Nadu and has visited the crash site near Kunnur. An official inquiry is underway also in this. Now, Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has held his briefing in the Parliament, taking us through the sequence of events of this tragic military chopper crash in which Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, his wife, 11 others lost their lives. This was after the Indian Air Force helicopter crashed in the hilly terrains of Tamil Nadu in the Kunnur region. Their final destination was the Madras Regimental Centre in Wellington in the Nilgiris district. Their mortal remains have now been brought to the Madras Regimental Centre in Wellington. The wreath-laying ceremony is currently underway. These are the live visuals that we're getting right now. Now, just to take you through the sequence of events, now the helicopter was carrying a Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. It was an Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter. It took off from the Sulur Air Base. From what we heard in Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's statement right now, the air base lost contact with the chopper at 12:08 and it was on its way to Wellington. Now, we are also being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, for more on this story. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. We've heard the statements. What can you tell us now? The mortal remains are in Wellington in the Madras Regimental Centre. They will be flown into the national capital as well for the last rites that will be performed tomorrow. What more can you tell us right now?
Well, the country is yet to come to terms with that tragic incident. We know that the Indian Defence Minister just a short while ago spoke in the lower house of the Indian Parliament. It was a short speech, but a speech which, of course, essentially talked about what has happened and talked about the inquiry, the tri-service inquiry that has been ordered into the incident. The Indian Parliament, of course, rose to pay homage to CDS Bipin Rawat, his wife, and the army officials, the 11 army officials who died in that tragic incident. But it's going to be long. Basically, the mortal remains will be brought here to Delhi later this evening on the military plane, and then of course the cremations will take place tomorrow. I'm standing near the house of the CDS Bipin Rawat, where his mortal remains will be kept later on. They will be taken to Barar Square, and of course the cremation will take place in Delhi cantonment tomorrow. But this is of course a shocking development. We know that since yesterday there have been reports coming as to what happened. It's only after the inquiry we will get to know exactly what happened, and there is a sense of shock here in Delhi in the aftermath of this tragic development that happened, the crash that happened of the chopper. We also know that focus also is now on the succession, who will be India's next CDS. We know that yesterday the Cabinet Committee on Security met, led by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. There were the top ministers present, the Finance Minister, Foreign Minister, the Home Minister and the Defence Minister, including the NSA. We can expect some kind of announcements both on the inquiry and of course who will be India's next CDS in few days' time.
Right, absolutely, Siddhant. Now, from what we do know that this was a Soviet-designed Russian helicopter, you were right that there are a lot of speculation about what exactly happened. We're of course waiting for an official statement on that. As of now, there is a wreath-laying ceremony that is underway in Tamil Nadu. Can you just take us through the events of today and tomorrow up until the last rites?
Well, basically, we know that today the Chief Minister of the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu will pay his respects. The ceremony has essentially started, and we know that after that the mortal remains will be brought back to Delhi later this evening, and the mortal remains of CDS will be kept at his residence here in Delhi on the Kamraj Road. But today, of course, focus will also be on the speech made by the Indian Defence Minister. He's already made the speech in Lok Sabha, in the lower house of the Indian Parliament. Now he's going to make a speech again, the similar speech in the upper house of the Indian Parliament, Rajya Sabha, talking about the development and of course the inquiry that has been announced by the Indian government. We do expect some kind of announcements on the inquiry very soon, because this is something that has essentially shocked the nation. We also know that not only from India condolences have been pouring in, but across the world. In fact, more than 20 countries have now reacted to this shocking development, and almost all the countries in the region have reacted. The Maldivian president, the Sri Lankan president, the Nepali Prime Minister, the Bhutanese Prime Minister were quick to react yesterday. And also in the larger region, we know that China reacted. The US Defense Secretary put out a long statement yesterday night. And also we know that when it comes to the military process, the ceremony, the ritual that will take place tomorrow, as the Indian Defence Minister talked about, that he will be cremated with full military honours. That ceremony will take place on Friday.
Right, Siddhant, thank you so much for all your updates on that. But do stay on with us. We will come back to you. Let's just take our viewers through the events of yesterday's tragic military chopper crash. Now, India's first Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, his wife and 11 others lost their lives. This was after an Indian Air Force helicopter crashed in the terrains of Tamil Nadu, that is a state in southern India. Now, the Parliament paid homage to General Rawat today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also briefing both houses of the Parliament. We just heard his statement right now, and said that the tri-service inquiry has been ordered to investigate this crash. Now, the sources have also said that the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder of the Mi-17 V5 chopper have been recovered. The mortal remains of General Rawat, his wife, are expected to arrive in the national capital, New Delhi, today as well. But as of now, as you can see on the visuals on your screen, the mortal remains of General Bipin Rawat, his wife, and the 11 others who were part of the crash, their mortal remains have been taken to the Madras Regimental Centre in Wellington. Right now, the wreath-laying ceremony is underway. Senior officials have been paying their are paying their respects here, and the mortal remains then will be flown into the national capital, where the last rites will be performed tomorrow in the Delhi cantonment. As we heard from Siddhant, their remains will be taken to the Barar Square. Their bodies will be kept before that in their house from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for people to pay their last respects before it is then taken to the Barar Square. Indian Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary is in Tamil Nadu, has visited the site near Kunnur where the crash happened. And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, like we said, has a briefing both houses of the parliament. We heard in his statement that the Sulur Air Base had lost contact with the chopper at 12:08 p.m. and that's what we do know so far. There are a lot of speculations as to what led to the accident. We're waiting for official word on the same. As of now, what we do know is right when the air base lost contact with the chopper, rescue teams were rushed to the site of the crash after locals reported seeing fire there, and now the mortal remains of those who were part of the crash, they have been taken to the Madras Regimental Centre in Wellington. Once again, we're being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant. Siddhant, thank you so much for staying on with us now. Their mortal remains have been taken to the Madras Regimental Centre. You know, tributes are pouring in. What can you tell us?
Well, yes, tributes are pouring in from across the country and the world, and the Rajya Sabha a short while ago also paid its homage to the CDS Bipin Rawat, his wife and 11 other army officials who died in that tragic incident. As I've said before, that the country is yet to come to terms with this tragic loss. He was someone who had played an instrumental role in reforming the forces, in integration and other reforms that he was taking forward. It's a work that is still continuing, but of course someone else now has to pick up the thread. There is of course a succession question also, but largely he was a person who was very approachable when it comes to outside of the services. He was much liked, including of course his frequent conversations with the media personals. He of course used to meet media personnel usually when it comes to various important meetings. Like for example, I remember clearly when the 2+2 India-Australia meeting took place, he was one of the first dignitaries to arrive, and he was quick to meet the media, mingle with the media, asking a lot of questions as usual. But everyone is going to fondly remember, everyone at least in Delhi, whether it's the media, whether it's the politicians, the bureaucrats, have their own story to tell about CDS Bipin Rawat, from the army chief to the CDS, and of course reforming the forces was something that was on top of the agenda. He of course was the one-point man when it comes to the security issues of the country, and advising the defense minister and the prime ministers on that issue. And he was someone who had frank views on number of no-go area issues, like of course talking with the Taliban. He was one of the first officials from the Indian political establishment, in the Indian establishment, essentially a security establishment, to talk about the fact that New Delhi should reach out to Taliban at a time when that was considered an area that nobody was willing to talk both on and off record. But essentially towards last few years, we have seen him commenting on many other issues.
On your screens right now, sorry to cut you, Siddhant, we're just getting visuals from Tamil Nadu. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin and the governor will be now paying their respects. They have arrived in Wellington at the site where the wreath-laying ceremony is underway. That is the Madras Regimental Centre. We can see Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has arrived on the site, and he will be paying his respects to General Bipin Rawat and the 12 others victims of the crash of the military chopper crash that happened yesterday in Tamil Nadu. You can see the visuals. We're getting these visuals live right now on your screens from Wellington, Madras Regimental Centre. This is where the wreath-laying ceremony is underway currently. That is Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, and he will be paying his last respects. You can see the procession here. Now, you can see the visuals on your screens right now. The mortal remains of the victims of yesterday's military chopper crash, of which CDS General Bipin Rawat and 12 others were a part of. Their mortal remains have been brought in the Madras Regimental Centre, and there we have Chief Minister M.K. Stalin paying his last respects to CDS General Bipin Rawat before these mortal remains are flown into the national capital, New Delhi, for the last rites that will be performed tomorrow. These mortal remains were have been brought in from the military hospital to the Madras Regimental Centre in Wellington, in the Nilgiris district, of the victims of yesterday's military chopper crash in the Kunnur region of Tamil Nadu. India's first Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, his wife, 11 others lost their lives. This was after the Indian Air Force helicopter crashed in Tamil Nadu in the Kunnur region. Right now, the wreath-laying ceremony is underway in Wellington, the Madras Regimental Centre, where their mortal remains have been brought in from the military hospital. Their remains will then be flown into the national capital, New Delhi.
Sir, sir. Sir. Umbrella. Red umbrella.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.